Pokemon in real life, and you won't believe what happens.
I'm gonna simulate Pokemon in real life
It's
by raising a
Pikachu,
team of
Squirtle.
6 different Pokemon from babies all the way to
that's
evolving
so
them to
cool.
their final form, simulating their
Oh.
entire life journey from training,
What?
exploring, fighting other Pokemon of all sizes, and even going on an epic adventure together as a team. But starting off,
Darkrai.
the first Pokemon we have is Pikachu.
Oh,
right now
that's
he's
so
super tiny
cool.
with red cheeks, small claws, and a lightning-shaped tail. Pikachu is an electric-type Pokemon that looks a lot like a mouse,
Oh,
but
look at
unlike a
him.
mouse, this guy can generate electricity. He was
Aw.
instantly super energetic as soon as I put him down, and he started sniffing
Look at
around
that.
and climbing on stuff.
Dude, I would not
Even
let
as
him
a
near my
baby, he can
computers.
generate electricity with his cheeks, but right now
Oh.
it's pretty weak, and for him and the rest of the Pokemon in this video, I'm going to be building them habitats to live in as if
Oh,
they were
that's
actual pets.
awesome.
But before we get to that, the next Pokemon we have
the next
is
one.
Squirtle, a water-type
Squirtle.
turtle Pokemon that typically lives in ponds, lakes, or near the ocean.
Aw.
This guy can go on both land and water, and he's going to be the only water-type Pokemon we have in this squad, so he's going to need to get really powerful. But
Oh, that's
first, we're going to
cool.
see if he can swim for the first time.
Oh, yes! Oh my goodness, I'm doing it, Daddy. Thank you for making me this pool. Yahoo!
Okay, it
Oh,
looks like
that's
he's pretty good at swimming. Squirtle is also one of the only Pokemon that
toothpaste.
can completely hide inside of his shell to avoid larger predators, which is
Nice.
definitely going to be useful because right now he's really small. But this
Yeah.
next Pokemon is a grass type. This
Oh, a
is
grass
Bulbasaur.
type.
He loves plants, so I immediately let him out in a garden and he started exploring around and eating
Aw.
tomatoes. Bulbasaur has
That's
a large
so
plant
cute.
bulb on his back that he uses to create energy with photosynthesis from the sun, and just like
Wow.
Squirtle, he's going to evolve twice and turn into
Oh,
a much more
that
powerful
a Psyduck?
Pokemon. But while he explores around, let's move on to the next Pokemon, which
What?
unlike the 3 we've seen so far, this one can fly. This is a Pidgey, a bird
Oh,
Pokemon, who I
Pidgey!
let out in my kitchen, and he quickly started flying around and messing with
Oh,
everything
that's
he
so
saw. He
cool.
started tapping on the microwave,
Wait, what?
picking
He's
out
actually
a plant,
pressing
and he
it?
seems very energetic, which is good, because throughout the video, he's going
Yeah,
to
he just wants
evolve
to
into
cook a
larger
mouse or
bird
something.
Pokemon. But for now, hopefully he doesn't learn how to open a window. But
Yeah,
inside of
fingers
this next
crossed.
Pokeball is a Diglett. Diglett is a ground
Diglett!
type Pokemon who loves the ground. And I'm going to place
Diglett.
him on the ground and see what he thinks.
Oh, look at that. Look at him go. He's moving.
Okay, Diglett enjoyed exploring around, and
Yeah.
other than the fact that he is the coolest design out of any Pokemon, one of
Yeah.
the most unique things that Diglett can do is
That's
dig
cool.
underground fully to hide from predators.
That's so
He can also use
cool.
this to sneak up and attack
Look, there
other
he is.
Pokemon, which will be very useful in the future. But now for the 6th
I
and
think
final
Diglett's gonna
Pokemon
be
in our
able to live
team,
the
this
longest.
is an Eevee, who immediately started exploring and
Eevee!
sniffing around. He's basically
Aw.
as if you got a baby dog, but Eevee is
Aw.
actually one of the most unique Pokemon in the world, not only because
That's
he's
so
really soft and
cute.
fun to pet, but also Eevee can evolve into one of 8 different Pokemon.
8 different
each of which is a
Pokemon?
different type. And later in the
What?
video, we're gonna see what he ends up evolving into.
Oh,
But for
that's
now,
cool.
Eevee was really friendly and explored around the room, excited
Aw.
to be alive. And now we have all 6 of our Pokemon
That's
seeing
the
the
6th
world for the
Pokemon.
first time.
They're loving it.
Okay, but these
Honestly,
guys can't
Diglett's
just
my
live in
favorite so
random
far.
areas around the house. So we're gonna build each of them their own habitat to live in. These are
Yeah.
6 empty habitats, and each of them are gonna be customized to fit one of the
Ooh.
Pokemon. Starting off with Pikachu. For this one, I
Pika!
included a bunch of stuff like a hamster wheel for
Oh,
him
dude,
to run
he's
around
got
on,
telephone
these electrical
wires.
transmission towers that he can power up and train with,
Oh,
and some
that's
random
cool.
objects like some logs, a cave, and some plants. And
That's
now
really
I'm gonna see
smart.
what he thinks.
Oh! Look at him go. That's so
But
cool.
next up is Squirtle. Since he's a turtle, this habitat is going to have a land section and a water
Yes,
section. For
smart.
the land, I included some large rocks, a cave, and some plants. And then for the water, the tank is
Nice.
going to be filled up halfway with water so that he has enough water to swim in without drowning. Because for now, he's still really tiny. And now I'm going to place him on the land and introduce him to his new
Look at
home.
him. He loves it. Oh, so he just belly flopped into the
Squirtle
water.
started swimming around, dipping his toes
He's like,
into the
my
sand,
tummy.
and I think this is
I don't
definitely
need
the
it.
perfect home for him to be raised in. He's
Aw.
definitely cooler than any normal pet turtle you can get. Okay, but
Right?
now switching away
I
from
would
an
love
ocean
that.
environment, Bulbasaur is going to have a forest-themed habitat.
Oh, yeah, that makes
with
sense.
plants,
Look at
bushes,
that.
trees, and a bunch of other green stuff. I also added a water bowl that he can drink out of, because
Aw.
later I'm going to be feeding all 6 of these Pokemon different
Ooh.
foods. But now I'm going to add him in on this dirt and see what he thinks.
Nice.
He
Look
started
at that.
exploring
he loves
around,
it.
snuggling inside of the plants, and quickly made
Aw.
himself at home in all of the green stuff. But this
Yeah, his
next
little
habitat
blanket
is
there.
much bigger. Since it's for Pidgey, it's way taller so that
Oh.
he can fly around, and I kept it pretty
Nice.
basic and included a few tree branches on the walls for him to
Oh, that's
perch on,
cool.
a tiny birdhouse, and a bowl for some food. Let's see what he thinks.
I love that. Although when he gets bigger, you'll need a much bigger aquarium.
Okay, this guy's very energetic. So let's move on to Diglett. Diglett
Oh,
habitat is
Diglett!
going to be a bunch of soil and dirt with tiny underground pathways for him to explore through.
Oh,
He's
that's
pretty basic, so
cool.
this should be enough.
Oh, look at him go.
Okay, finally, Eevee's habitat is going to be the largest since he needs a lot of room to
Aw.
run around. For this
Look at
one, I
that.
included a carpet, a small dog bed, a bowl for water and food, and some
That's
random
cute.
toys and Pokemon stuffed animals scattered around the place. Let's
Aw.
see what he thinks.
Aww. That's so cute.
And now that we've added Eevee in, all 6 of the Pokemon are now in their habitats, exploring
Nice.
around, learning more about themselves, and finally having their own place to call home. These 6
Aw.
Pokemon eat a variety of different foods in the wild, so I'm gonna give them each something different. Once they
Yeah.
get larger, they're gonna even start eating other smaller Pokemon. For now,
Wow.
since they're babies, here's what they're gonna get. I gave Pikachu some berries,
Uh-huh. Oh, that's so
Squirtle
cute.
ate a piece of fish,
Oh, he's having
Bulbasaur
sushi.
got some vegetables since he likes plants,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Pidgey got some seeds,
Aw.
Diglett ate a worm,
Oh, he's just
and
slurping that
Eevee
thing
got a
down.
Pokepuff, which is a cake-like food that when eaten by Pokemon makes them like you more.
What? That's
These Pokemon
awesome.
will eventually need to
Oh,
hunt for their own
hey,
food
whoa,
once
hey,
they're released
yo.
into the wild later in
Bruh,
their
what
life.
the-
But the next step for these Pokemon to develop is to take them outside. I
Oh,
placed all of
it's
them down in
Pikachu.
the backyard, and immediately they were pretty shy as they were seeing other Pokemon for the very first time
Aw.
in their life. So they ended up spreading apart and started exploring different parts of the backyard.
That's so
Eevee ran through
cute.
some bushes and discovered a flower patch that he started
Oh.
rolling around in. And Pikachu
Aw.
was running around in the grass until he eventually found a nearby forest where he started climbing up a tree and found a spot to rest on top. He just wanted to
Nice.
take a nap in peace. Pidgey flew around the backyard, stretching his wings and exploring different parts, and even looked around in the trees for some more food. But
Aw.
meanwhile, Diglett, after digging himself
Hey, what's
underground
Diglett
and
doing?
exploring there,
He's like,
popped
"Where am
back
I?
up and accidentally
Help!"
crossed paths with a much larger
Oh, no.
electric-type Pokemon. But
Oh,
he quickly
no.
dug himself inside to social distance away
He's
and
like, "Nope,
protect
I'm outta
himself.
here."
And while all that was happening,
No, thank
Bulbasaur
you.
and Squirtle were walking around alone, but soon crossed paths.
no.
And this time started fighting each
Oh,
other
they're
and getting
fighting.
territorial. And little did they know that a larger Pokemon was sleeping nearby,
Hey,
and their
yo,
little
that's just
wrestling
a
match
bear.
had woke him up. This is a wild Ursaring, a large bear
Ursaring?
Pokemon that was one of the main predators living in this forest.
Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Woke
Oh,
up angry,
yikes.
hungry, and soon found our baby Pokemon.
Uh-oh.
He roared at Pidgey,
No, not Pidgey.
woke up Pikachu from his power nap,
Oh, Pikachu. Whoa.
and soon caught the attention of all 6 of our Pokemon, who were now forced to team up to defend themselves against
Oh.
this giant bear.
They get
Since
to
they were a
team
lot
up.
smaller, they attacked him from every side, distracting him
him.
from being able to focus on eating one of them.
Nice.
But they were still too small to do any actual damage to him. They didn't know any strong moves yet,
Dang.
so they just started clawing, biting, and pecking the Ursaring,
Oh, that's
annoying him
scary.
and dodging being ripped
Diglett's
apart.
just like,
And
"How dare
eventually,
you
after
guys?"
being harassed for a few minutes, it caused Ursaring to be fed up with all these
Nice.
little pests and walked away from them to find a larger meal that was worth the hunt. These
Ah,
guys were
phew.
basically like chicken nuggets to him. They
Chicken
narrowly
nuggets.
survived this attack from a giant predator, so I brought them back inside to safety to rest up
Aw.
together. But over the course of the next few weeks, the Pokemon had
what?
started to venture into the wild and
Squirtle
train
doing?
more and more, learning different attacks and gaining experience battling all sorts of Pokemon.
Aw.
They fought alone,
Dude, there's a
fought
meow.
with each other, but still occasionally messed with the wrong opponent. Bulbasaur had
Oh,
accidentally encountered a massive Arcanine Pokemon
Oh,
and tried to
no.
quietly retreat inside of a tree stump, but was noticed by the Arcanine.
Uh-oh.
But in the wild, there's always a larger Pokemon.
Oh! Whoa!
A Garchomp attacked the Arcanine,
Garchomp!
overpowering him and unknowingly saving Bulbasaur's life.
Dang!
Aside from fighting and exploring the forest, each Pokemon also developed their own personality.
Dude, that would be
and I found them
spiky.
doing some really cool stuff around the house. Pikachu was able to charge my phone for me in seconds. Squirtle started reading complex literature.
what?
Pidgey started playing around
Squirtle,
with toy
what?
cars. And Diglett used his digging ability and round body shape to hide in some random spaces. All of them
What?
also grew closer together over time and became best friends,
Aw.
eating dinner together, playing video games
love
together,
Diglett's
and
food.
even moved to sleeping in an actual bed as they got
Aw,
larger.
that's
But little did they know that
adorable.
a strange ghost-type Pokemon had been watching them the whole time.
Oh no.
And now that they were larger, I
Oh,
also
no.
started feeding them other smaller Pokemon. Bulbasaur ate bug-type Pokemon like
Oh, no.
Caterpie, and Squirtle hunted and ate small fish Pokemon like
a
Magikarp.
Magikarp.
And they continued to get bigger and stronger,
There's a
fighting
Psyduck.
larger wild Pokemon and learning new attacks.
Dang.
Until
He's evolving!
they had started to evolve into the next
Whoa!
stage of their journey, starting with Bulbasaur, who evolved into Ivysaur,
Ivysaur.
becoming larger and stronger, with the plant on his back starting to bloom.
That's
And just as that was
awesome.
happening, Squirtle was fighting a wild Raticate,
Oh.
blasting water in his face, and just like Bulbasaur, evolved into
Oh.
his second evolution. This is Wartortle. He now has larger ears on his
Dang.
head, is darker blue, and almost 2 feet taller. And now
that's
with his new
cool.
form, he's much more prepared to venture into the ocean and swim around larger water-type Pokemon, which will
Nice.
all happen soon. But those two weren't the only ones who evolved, because
Oh. Dude, what?
Pidgey, after
Pidgey!
landing a sneak attack,
He just
evolved
knocked him off
into
the cliff.
Pidgeotto, with a wingspan 2 times as large as Pidgey's, giving him the ability to fly faster and much farther. The other
Wow.
3 Pokemon still haven't evolved, but their journey has a long way to go. And even the 3 Pokemon that have evolved still have another form that they can evolve into, so they have to get a lot stronger and
Oh,
battle a lot
dang.
more Pokemon in order to get there.
Whoa.
But now that half our Pokemon
gonna be
team is a
cool.
lot bigger, I'm gonna build them a Pokemon sanctuary right here to live in all
Whoa.
together so that they have more space to grow and train. And
That's
here is the
sick.
finished habitat. It combines the environment type of all 6 of the
That's
Pokemon
awesome.
with
It's
a
like a
river down
Pokemon
the middle
stadium.
for Wartortle to swim in, a grassy section with some tall trees for Ivysaur,
Nice.
a dirt hill for Diglett to dig through and pop
cute.
holes out of, and an electrical tower for Pikachu to channel his powers through.
Oh, he's gonna love that. That's
Eevee
so
has a
cool.
bunch of space around the entire habitat to run around, and he started rolling
Aw.
in some mud. Pidgeotto flew everywhere, exploring around and stretching his wings more, and keeping
Nice.
a watch over the entire place. As the
Aw.
day went on, they were all super happy to now have a much larger habitat
That's
with fresh
cute.
air, plenty of room to run around, and were able to hang out with each other in peace.
Yeah.
But then their fun quickly stopped. Out
Why?
of nowhere, the ghost-type Pokemon that
No!
had been stalking everyone earlier had followed them and attacked.
Oh!
And this time, he wasn't alone, and all
What?
of our Pokemon were sneak attacked at the same time. There was
Oh,
a Ghastly,
no.
a Haunter, and a Gengar.
Oh!
3 strong ghost-type Pokemon that for some reason attacked our
Dang!
Pokemon team as they were going to bed. Our Pokemon put up a fight, outnumbering the ghosts, but
Oh!
then the Ghastly and Gengar used an attack that put our Pokemon to sleep.
Oh no, this is bad.
And after a full 12 hours,
What?
our Pokemon slowly woke up,
Oh, wait.
frustrated that
Are
their
they
new
better?
home was invaded and they lost the fight. But they quickly realized it was even worse because one of them went missing. The 3 ghost
No!
Pokemon had kidnapped
They
Pikachu,
got
and left
Pikachu!
into the night with him. And after realizing that they had lost their friend and had no idea where
Aw.
he was, our Pokemon were angry, sad, and felt defeated. They wanted to get him back, and while they were coming up with a plan to look for him, the 3 ghost-type Pokemon took Pikachu to
Oh.
an abandoned castle on
Whoa!
an island.
What?
They had taken him to the home of a dark-type
Oh, no.
legendary Pokemon,
Oh, no.
Darkrai. A dark Pokemon that
Darkrai?
gave other Pokemon nightmares. But the other 5
Oh, no,
Pokemon
poor
had no
Pikachu.
idea where Pikachu went. But they had
Oh,
to get their
no.
friend back. And after a lot of arguing and a lot of crying, they decided to split up in order to cover
they're
more
gonna look
ground and
for
have a
him.
better chance at finding him.
Nice.
With Wartortle venturing into the ocean, Ivysaur through the forests, Pidgeotto through the air, and everyone else spreading
Wow.
out. They were
Wait,
all now
Eevee's
by
on the
themselves
highway?
for the very first time since they were in their tiny glass habitats.
Wow.
Except this time, they aren't in a protected house being taken care of. They're on their own, in the
Yeah.
wild, encountering
Whoa.
Pokemon of all different sizes on the way, and needing to hunt for their
Wow.
own food to survive. All while searching for their lost friend that was kidnapped.
This is
Wartortle
hype.
encountered a jellyfish Pokemon,
Dang! Whoa!
While Pidgeotto was searching through big cities, Diglett started exploring
Smart.
through some gardens, Eevee rode on a train to cover more
What?
ground, and Ivysaur went deep into the forest, meeting colonies of bug and grass Pokemon while he
Nice.
explored and looked around for the ghost Pokemon.
That's so
but instead of
cool.
finding the ghosts, he got in a fight with a Vigoroth, a large
Oh, no.
sloth Pokemon.
Oh no! Dude, look at those
After
vines!
absolutely pummeling him, Ivysaur
Wow.
became the first Pokemon to evolve into its final form, a
Whoa,
Venusaur. Now over
Venusaur.
220 pounds and over 20 times the size
Dude,
of when he
he's
first got him,
massive.
this guy was a beast. And around the same time,
Huh? Oh, it's Diglett! Whoa!
Diglett evolved into his second and final evolution,
Oh.
Doug Trio. Now he has 3 heads that he can
Dugtrio.
attack with, and he's a lot better at digging. Grow pretty much
Dang.
multiplied by 3. But meanwhile, Eevee started learning new attacks and was able to
Oh.
beat Pokemon larger than him
Dude, it's a
using his small
beaver.
size and his stealthiness. And all while that was
Nice.
happening, Pidgeotto was fighting a Golbat in the streets of New York City. And after
Wow.
smashing him on a road,
Oh.
he evolved into his final evolution.
What?
Pidgeot. Now a much
Pidgeot.
bigger bird that even humans were afraid of. With
Bruh.
sharper claws,
He's
better
massive.
vision, and stronger wings, he ended up meeting up with Venusaur and Diglett and took them on a ride
Oh,
looking for the
nice.
Pikachu from above the sea. But meanwhile,
That's so
Wartortle,
cool.
after exploring deeper parts of the ocean, encountering many ocean Pokemon on the way, he found himself in trouble with a
Oh, no.
wild, hungry Gyarados
Dude,
that
that's
was
a
way larger than
legendary.
him.
Right? Is it Gyarados?
Right as he was about
No,
to be
maybe
finished,
not.
the
That's
Wartortle
right.
evolved into his final evolution, Blastoise.
Magikarp
Now
becomes
able to stand
Gyarados.
his ground against the
Oh,
Gyarados, he managed to
Blastoise!
get away and swim through the ocean as one of the most feared beasts in the sea. He had gone from the
Dang.
baby Squirtle that wrestled a tiny Magikarp to now
Yeah.
eating large fish Pokemon like this wild Basculin. And after many more
Whoa.
days of swimming and exploring the ocean, he was the first to find Pikachu. After
What?
landing on the island,
did
the
it!
island was filled with purple fog, and Darkrai sat on a throne in the middle of it with Pikachu asleep in
Whoa.
front of him, surrounded by dark energy.
What is
and
he
soon the other
doing?
Pokemon arrived,
Oh,
joining
it's Diglett
Blastoise
and
and finally
Dugtrio.
regrouping. 4 out of 5 of them
Dugtrio.
had now evolved into their final evolution. They were
Nice.
stronger than ever before and walked towards Darkrai, ready to get their friend
Let's
back.
beat him
But
up.
Darkrai wasn't alone. He summoned an entire
Oh,
army
no.
of ghost-type Pokemon
Oh,
that
no.
attacked our team and instantly turned the island into chaos.
It's like a full battle! There's a full-on war! Whoa! Don't get him,
The ghost
Dugtrio!
Pokemon were attacking from every side and completely swarmed our team, who
Wow.
had no choice but to fight back.
Whoa. Dude, I love their goofy dirt thrower attack.
But unlike last time when their
Whoa.
home was invaded, our team were now able to overpower the ghost Pokemon
Nice.
despite being outnumbered and surrounded. As after evolving, learning new attacks, and gaining
that's
experience
cool.
on their journey here, our Pokemon were much stronger and soon
Yeah.
defeated all of the ghosts,
They
leaving
did it.
Darkrai alone and the only thing that stood in their way. But
Now it's
Darkrai
just
wasn't any
him.
ordinary Pokemon. He was a legendary Pokemon and the
Darkrai's
strongest
legendary.
that any of them had ever faced before.
Oh no.
He was now ready to fight them and
Bruh.
started flying up into the sky. Our Pokemon decided to strike first and fired attacks at him.
Nice!
Darkrai used his power to block all of
Oh,
them
never
and launched
mind.
counterattacks.
Oh, no.
He fired a Shadow Ball at Eevee and Dugtrio that left them
Whoa.
suffering in pain, and he blasted Venusaur and Blastoise with dark
Oh,
energy
no.
that knocked them down.
He's too
Pidgeot tried to
strong.
attack from the air, but there was no point. Darkrai was too fast and blasted him to the
What?
ground, leaving him in constant pain. But little did
Dang.
Darkrai know that while he was doing all of that, Pikachu had slowly woken up under his chin and ran away to not be spotted.
Wait,
Pikachu
what?
ran to the back of the island, trying to think of a
Go
plan to save his
Pikachu.
friends, who were suffering from Darkrai's wrath. But just as that
Nice.
was happening, a bright golden light had caught his attention. Pikachu walked up to the chest
Hey,
that it was
yo.
coming from and found a golden stone inside.
What?
This is a Thunderstone that Pikachu immediately grabbed, causing him to
What?
evolve into a Raichu,
No
Pikachu's final
way!
evolution with more enhanced electric powers. But that
Nice!
Thunderstone wasn't the only stone in the chest. Raichu
Wait, what?
decided to grab the bright red stone, which was a fire stone, and he ran back into the battle with
Oh.
it, where he threw it at the only Pokemon that hadn't evolved yet,
Oh.
Eevee. who, despite
Eevee!
being in pain from Darkrai's powers, consumed the Fire Stone, turning him into a
Nice!
Flareon. He now evolved from a normal-type Pokemon into a Fire-type Pokemon
Fire
and
type!
learned new attacks that he could use. But right as Raichu threw the stone,
Nice!
he had caught the Darkrai's attention, who shifted his focus at him, angry that he had been able to escape right under his nose.
no.
But before Darkrai could launch an attack, Raichu quickly tackled him using all of his
Whoa!
electric power, shocking him in place while clinging onto his floating body. And while this
Nice!
was happening, the other Pokemon had started to recover to their feet, and seeing
come on,
that
guys, you can
Darkrai
do
was
it!
paralyzed by the
You've got
Raichu,
this!
they all fired attacks at him.
Nice! Whoa, that's so cool!
Everything they had. The combined power of all 6 of the Pokemon quickly overwhelmed
Yeah!
Darkrai, who could no longer hold it and collapsed to the ground defeated.
Yeah!
And
They
just
got
like
him!
that, our team of Pokemon had defeated the legendary Pokemon Darkrai
Nice!
and reached the final stage of their journey together. They had gone from tiny little Pokemon
That's
in
so
glass
cool.
cages that could fit in a human hand to a fully evolved team of 6 that defeated one of the
That's
strongest
amazing!
Pokemon in the world. And they now have the freedom to venture out anywhere into the world and stay as a team for the rest of
Aw.
their life.
Guys, smash like and subscribe if you want to see more cute videos like this, and I'll catch you in the next one. Blocky!